What is going on, homies? It's your boy StumpD back for the OPTC video, and in today's video, it's another year, another month, another tier list. January 2022, OPTC Sugo tier list is here. 2022, it sounds absolutely crazy to say, right? Who thought they would be where they are in 2022? Let me know in the comments section below. And while you're down there, do your boy solid, hit that like button for me. And if you're new, hit the big red subscribe button too. We do upload OPTC videos pretty much every single day. But in today's video, we are going to be doing our Legends tier list of January 2022 as of the release of Sulong, CatDog, and, well, Sulong, Neko, and Inu, right? Cat, Viper, and Dogstorm. We also have a couple of new legends that were out on Japan, which were Crocodile and Koala, as well as the Treasure Map limited Sugo Bond Chen as well. So we do have 5 new legends? Yeah, 5 new legends to talk about for this month. We also have a 6+. We have 6+ Odin to talk about as well. So that's a total of 6 characters, and I have a little bit of a change up for this particular tier list as well. But my tier list, if you're new, Stump, how do you rank characters? How do you do it? What do you do? How does it look like? So, we do have a bunch of tiers, and I do like to rank characters on a bunch of different things. The big one for me is usability. How much viability and usability does that character have in content? The character could be absolutely insanely busted, but what they do doesn't matter because there's no content to actually use them in. Or, the content that is around, they're just not tailored for. For example, if a character gives like 10 turns of special bind removal, 10 turns of attack up removal, down removal, and 10 turns of paralysis removal, that's all great. Really, really nice. 2 times attack boost, for example. Awesome, awesome. But if there's no content to remove attack down and paralysis, then they're kind of just a dust collector. But what I like to sort of rank is I like to separate units that are just great overall. So as you can see at the top there, we have the broken most valuable. We also have god tier amazing. These 3 tiers are for characters that are just absolutely incredible captains, absolutely crazy subs, and that is a big factor. So we like to factor in how good their captain ability is, how strong their captain ability is, how fast they can clear content, how reliable they are as a captain, and then as a sub, mainly what their either sailor abilities are or what their special does for the team. Do they pop up on teams where they're not even boosted? That is a big factor as well because the character is so good and their special is just so powerful for the content that is floating around. Not only for that particular month, but for like what is going on in the game. So hard pieces of content get taken into account, stuff like forests, garbs challenges, arenas. They're the big ones. And then everything else is sort of just like point farming events, which they kind of recommend for you. But as you can see, as I mentioned, the top tier is the broken and most valuable. If you have these characters, max them out, limit break them, expand them if you've got the materials to do so. These characters here are the characters you want to be spending all your materials on. In the god tier section, these characters are sort of just off the cusp, right? Like they are like very, very good, but they sort of just like not exactly there in terms of the broken god tier. Doesn't mean they're bad, and if you have these characters, I would definitely max them as well, but they're just not the amazing broken tier. Underneath that, we've got amazing, and these particular characters are all really good as subs, they're all really good as captains. Again, I would look at maxing these particular characters out. After that, it kind of gets a little bit like, not shaky, but a little bit different. As we make our way down here, underneath amazing, we have S tier captain and we have S tier sub. These particular captains, the S tier captains, are all viable to run 2 of for whatever purpose you actually need them for, but they're just nowhere near as like good as some of these captains up the top here in terms of your brokens, your god tier, your amazing, and stuff like that. As we make our way down the S tier subs, obviously these particular characters shine as sailors. They're on the crew. You're not really using them as captains. Some of them have okay captain abilities, but 99% of the time, you're using them as a sailor, you're using them as a sub, because they are very, very good for what they bring to the actual team. A tier captains are sort of a tier underneath S tier captains. Obviously, they just don't really make the cut there. All of these captains are still viable as running double captains. Obviously, like Nami Usop, you want to run a Nami and an Usop. Double Katakuri can still work. Double Luffy can still work. But obviously, if you hybrid them up with these characters up the top here, the broken, the S tier captains and the god tiers and the amazing characters, that's where they're going to shine the most. As for A tier subs, these particular characters are still very, very good. They sort of find their way onto teams here and there, but like they sort of just pop up a little bit more than something like your content or niche when content requires or niche. These solid hybrid options, like these are just up to you. Like from A sub down, I wouldn't really touch per se, because unless you really need them for that exact piece of content. So solid hybrids, these guys here, they basically rely on Fred captains to do what they need to do. Content when niche requires, they're sort of designed for doing a particular purpose, running particular content, or doing a particular thing. Support characters, these characters here, you just want to sort of max out their support, leave them there, use them as support characters. That's all they're really viable for, unfortunately. And then the rare recruit tier, these characters down here, And these guys are only really good because they're just sort of aging. Now, I wouldn't touch the rare recruit tier, to be honest. Like, these characters, there's rare recruits that just do it better. Finally, needs a 6+ Suzuki. Don't touch these characters. These characters have just dropped off the planet. If they don't have a 6+ already, which, like, most of them do, then, like, you know, so it is what it is. But, as I mentioned, if we scroll all the way down the bottom here, we do have a bunch of new characters. And as you guys will see here, I have a new addition. I have included a Rainbow Straw Hats, because this is a very interesting character after Kazuna that I do want to talk about. And we are going to change up the tier list. So, before we do begin, there are some changes. So let's go back up the top here. First of all, we're going to bring this guy up here. I'm going to remove this best friend tier. You guys got way too confused when I brought it in last time. Look, honestly, rightfully so. Like, I didn't make it exactly as clear as day. But I do think these characters are actually broken. Their final tap is absolutely insane. But I am sort of just going to put them at the back end. If it was me, I think they're sort of 6th. I don't think they're, like, broken, because most of the time you're using this guy as a friend captain, especially if you can find a level 5 final tap one, right? But you can still hybrid, like, do, like, double shenanigans with this particular character. I do think they are god tier for what they can provide the team in terms of, like, turning everything into rainbow boost, which is nice. Especially if you have, like, utility units that can, just, like, also give an attack boost to, say, slashes. That just makes it rainbow as well, which just makes team building very, very easily. Besides that, nothing else for me is really going to change in the broken section, the god tier section. I think this is absolutely fine the way it is. But I do think it's time that we bring our girl Big Mom down. Big Mom Bonnie combination's awesome. I do think, like, Big Mom is way better than Kaido. But I think she just had her time in amazing, and, like, as time goes on, she's just starting to fall off a little bit. I do kind of want to, like, consider what I'm doing with King and Queen here, but, like, King and Queen, like, they can just do some, like, crazy things when you hybrid them up with each other. I still think they're amazing as a sailor as well, because they have special rewind. They have the carryover effects, which is great. It's another reason why Big Mom was so good for so long. Like, she has 3 very good colors, insight and strength, attack boost, and then orb boost on the next stage. Very, very good versatility. Like, but I think just as time's gone on, like, she's just sort of dropped off a little bit. As for that, everything else seems pretty much fine here. The Kaido crew, they're really, really cool. They were great in the Kazuna, actually. Obviously, being a Kazuna Legend, they're always going to be boosted, which is nice. Robin and Jinbei, very, very good utility. Base stats, 1000 base stats. Rainbow's awesome. Lucci, one of the best Dex captains in the game. Law, amazing for Kazuna. Straw Hats basically do everything with their special. Shanks and Whitebeard, yeah, they're the best colors. Like, they just have the best color captains in the game. Like, just straight up. For Sign In, I'm talking. And then King and Queen are awesome. S-tier captains, these guys here, as I mentioned, they are viable to run, like double of these guys. Bonnie, absolutely incredible. Big Mom dropping down. Super Type Zora here. This Snake Man, I stand by it. He's the best Snake Man in the game. He's the best Luffy in the game as captain. Like, honestly. Like, I still don't think there's a better Luffy unless you include the Luffy crew. I still think this Luffy's the best Luffy, or if you count Straw Hats, right? I think he's better than Last Tap Luffy, like, not even a doubt about it. Luffy and Sanji, I guess you could make an argument, is better, in a way. But in terms of just, like, speed and stuff like that, this Snake Man just does absolute work. Mori is great. You got the speed captains here of V2 Kaido, V3 Kaido, I guess. V1 Kaido and Carrot. These 3 characters, for what they provide in terms of just pure speed, is very, very nice. And that's the big reason why they're here. Obviously, wave cleaning shenanigans with the Kaidos. The Carrot going through defensive effects is great. Your God tier, as I mentioned, like, none of these characters need to really change per se. I guess you could maybe make an argument for me to drop the Capone Pirates down. But, like, I still think they're at the back end. The only reason I would drop them down is because Driven just gets so much support. And, like, if you have a look up here, right, we have so many good Driven captains. You have the Yamato, 6-star up here, absolute weapon. You've got Dofi, Kid, Kainu, Fire Tank Pirates. You've got... Oh, they're powerhouse, aren't they? Well, they're Driven powerhouse anyway, right? And then you've got King and Queen over here as well. So, Fire Tank, I still think are absolutely insane. They have an amazing captain ability, a very, very powerful special, a great switch ability. Very, very good. Vivi gets around special bind. She's a strength booster. She's a free switch. She's a cerebral booster. Absolute weapon. Versakano and Ace. Everyone knows how good Versakano and Ace is. Honestly, for me, this is one of the most valuable units in the game. Like, I use them religiously. Like, they would be my most used unit if I had to, like have any predictions. Kid, absolutely awesome. Popping his special, like, 5 times per run. And then Super Type Dofi, my favorite unit in the game, like, easily. Being able to, give it attack boost, orb manipulation, chain boost, base stats. Double Dofi just goes absolutely burr, and being a super class legend means that you can hybrid these 2 units up really nicely and get the shenanigans of super class and super type. Straw Hats, their final tap, easily broken, like absolutely insane. We already spoke about them, so we're going to move on. On to S tier sub now. I don't think any of these characters can change per se, but I do want to make a big change actually here. Boa. I have not given Boa enough credit. Boa is absolutely awesome. Big shout out to Garance, and big shout out to Sub Conti on the Revolution Army 2, as well as the Hawkins Forest run. I did my own sort of run with Boa and like a level 5 Straw Hat captain. This Boa is actually really, really good. 6 turns of special blind, 6 turns of attack down. Base stats to Free Spirits, which is just absolutely insane because Free Spirits are busted. And she's a 3.5 times Chain Locker. Really, really good character. Pretty good super typing as well for long content, especially like in Forests and Revolution Army 2. When you get attacked, she applies the Mera ability. She is really, really good. Like a really, really good unit. And I've had a lot of fun with Boa, especially since the release of the Straw Hats. She's become really, really good. As for the rest of the characters here, I don't think anything needs to change per se. I guess you could maybe argue to me that Sugar, it's probably time that Sugar gets dropped down here. The reason I want to sort of drop Sugar into A tier sub is because you're only really using her for Kazuna per se. And nowadays, like last Kazuna, I didn't actually use her. I had the ability to use her, but I didn't use her. So I think dropping her to A tier sub nowadays is probably the way to go. You could probably make an argument to me that she's an A tier captain, to be honest, because like I still think she's a better captain than something like Kaido. So yeah, I think A tier captain's probably a good spot for her. Just because like she has a really good super type as well, like really, really good super type. Page 1 ulti, amazing for Kazuna. Law and Shanks, these guys are the absolute god tier subs here. These three here are like god tier subs to me. I use them all the time. Sober Mask, Law, Shanks crew, you know it, you're using them. Page 1 ulti, the guaranteed conditional boost is like undefeated. In Co-op Kazuna, the last Co-op Kazuna we just had, like we found a way to put this unit on every single team. Like it had to happen. 2.25 conditional boost, 2.5 times chain boundaries going upwards, like absolutely nuts. Shiroshi Manchuri, overhealing mechanic with the switch, very, very strong. Luffy Sanji with their utility. Switch ability of Vivi Rebecca gives a 2.5 times chain lock and orb manipulation. They completely remove damage reduction and defense up, which is always going to be undefeated. Same reason the Sanji pudding's here, damage reduction and threshold removal, absolutely undefeated. Amazing switch ability as well. Luffy Sanji, 2 times attack boost most of the time, but you very, very easily can get 2.5, provided you build the team correctly, especially if you're using overheal mechanics with Shiroshi or them as captain. Shiroshi Manchuri, like they're just like they're god tier utility unit. Their switch ability is absolutely cooked. The 3 utility gods with Corazon, Chopper, and Rayleigh. These 3 units are really, really good. All cerebral. Oh no, Rayleigh's not. Most of them are cerebral. These 2 are cerebrals. They remove like every single debuff. Rayleigh 7 turns of bind, despair, and paralysis. Chopper literally has 5 turns of everything, and then Corazon's like 5 turns or 3 turns of everything. Really good supports for these units as well. Very, very good. Chopper also does dupe cotton candy drops, so you could argue that like maybe content where content requires, but nevertheless, he's very, very good. Pudding has a very unique special. If you guys don't know, she can stockpile specials, give you cooldowns, and then pop her special later on to avoid interrupts. Very, very powerful. I don't think Sugar gets enough love. Not Sugar. Pudding. Sugar, you know, the pudding's in the sugar and the sugar's in the pudding, you know. Wait, what? With Pudding, I don't think she gets enough love because she gives a lot of cooldowns, like a lot of cooldowns. But she also gets around interrupts, so she's really good for speed teams. She's a viable int captain with her 6+ now as well, I guess. But she can also be a side captain too, which is interesting. Perona, she's going to stay in S tier sub because she's a guaranteed conditional. She was very good for the Kazuna. I didn't use her per se, but there were some guys on my team that were actually utilizing it for that 2 times conditional. If you use the Moby Dick ship, you're guaranteeing yourself the conditional boost. No questions asked, which is very, very good. Down to A tier captains now. The A tier captains, these guys are sort of like not the greatest per se, but they still can run dual versions of each of them. I think everyone's fine here. Nami Usop, this is the character that I probably haven't used the most out of all the characters we're going to talk about. I own them in Japan, but I just never really got around to using them. But I feel like the way that they sort of operate is Nami's for the damage. You get the guaranteed delay, and then Usopp gets his condition, and you want to switch between them sort of thing. Like, that's kind of how they work. Correct me if I'm wrong if you use this unit, but like that's how I feel. As I mentioned, we sort of moved Sugar down to A tier captain. You could easily argue me she's an A tier sub, because like, I'm never ever using this as girl as a captain, but you can. This guy right here, I can't stand this guy, man. Like, V4 Katakuri is dog shit. I'm saying it right here. Like, him and Final Tap Luffy, these 2 units right here, are the most overrated. Actually, and Treasure Map Sanji, the 3 of them, they are the most overrated characters in the entire game. Like, I can't stand these guys. They're all fighters, funny enough. Like, Last Tap Luffy, when you max his Final Tap, I guess is like okay, but the like landing on recovery orbs just sucks. Like, it's better free spirit captains that I would rather use. Doesn't make him bad, but like to me he sucks. the super type conditioner category is just, it's okay, but like he's super class. His super class is just dookie. This Sanji, like, I don't care. You can make an argument he's a speed captain. He auto triggers special at the start of the quest. It doesn't matter. Like, he doesn't have great orb manipulation. He's squishy as hell. 2 times attack and orb boost is just low. Running 2 with this guy just absolutely sucks. The only thing he's got going for him is he's a Sanji unit. But there's other Sanjis that are just better. Straight up. And look, he can clear content, but like so can literally all of these other units. So like that argument's kind of like null and void as well. Mr. Kuzuki Odin, obviously we're going to take him off the tier list when we talk about 6+, because he just got a straight buff. Super type Kaido, I don't really like super type Kaido, but I know a lot of people do. When he works though. Same with Law, like that reflection damage is great. The auto trigger, the special is great. Removing Despair though just makes Law absolutely awesome. Removing Paralysis in Mihawk's captain ability is great, and obviously the hybrid of these two units is absolutely cooked. Kid's super cool. Still viable as a double dex captain, but Bullet is the one you want to run like hybrid of. But Bullet's rainbow damage and damage output is so high, I have to keep him in A tier captain. Like, I just can't take him down. Moving down to A tier sub, the 6+ Brook's great, 6+ Sabo is awesome. Vivi Rebecca, Germa with the captain swap, switchability of Sabo Koala, utility switch with Luffy and Zoro. These particular characters in A tier sub here, like these characters here, like, you can max out. Like, I would sort of max some of these characters out before I would max out some of these characters in A tier captain. Like, especially like Luffy, Zoro for stuff like Forest, Sabo Koala for stuff like Dofi 2. This Jumanji for Forest as well, removing special one of themselves is really good. Bardo Cavendish have a really good switch ability. Really good. Driven is just absolutely incredible, so that's quite nice. 6+ Nami, guaranteed conditional boost as well as color affinity now. And Garp being 6+ gives a nice chain lock and special bind removal, which is very good. Mihawk Perona, guaranteed conditional. They were actually really good for the Kazuna as well, because like there was no full immunity. But if you have more than one enemy, you get a guaranteed conditional with these guys too. The negative effect is awesome. Gives you extra 20% damage as well. Shiroshi Mancherry V1, still very good utility. Luffy and Law, great damage output going through barriers with their switch ability. Still quite viable as a sub, but has dropped off the goddamn planet. Nami and Robin definitely don't get as much love as they need to. I actually use them quite a lot for stuff like Garp challenges and whatnot. Their Sailor ability to remove paralysis is awesome. Their switch ability can come in handy to like stockpile Wano orbs and stuff like that. And being a 2.5 times orb boost is really good for int mainly, but Dex still viable. Enel, Gazaru, the 2 PvP legends, the actual good PvP legends. Actually, totally forgot, we got to include Kumar on this tier list as well. He's another character that came out this month. Wow, so we have 7 characters. Totally forgot about him because that's, you'll see. Enel, he can be good as a driven captain for Psy-based teams, especially if you need to run like, well, with Bon-Chan, I mean, he's kind of dropped off, but he's a 2.5 conditional boost, so that's great too. Gazaru, great utility, special bind, special seal removal special seal and special reverse, which is awesome. He gives color affinity to 3 colors, which is great. He's got speed captain utilities. He's very sweet. As for solid hybrids, I'm not really going to talk about these characters because they're just solid hybrids. Like, if you want to level these characters up, you can. If you need to, you can. But, like, all of them, I don't use. I don't use any of them anymore. I can't stand this guy. I think I used... What? Yeah, you get out of here. I used this particular Blackbeard, like, for Garp's challenge, the worst generation. That's about it. Other than that, everyone else, like, I guess, like, this Sabo, like, you could maybe argue is a solid sub, because, like, I use him as a sub. Other than that, just level them up if you want to. Same with the content requires and niche. These characters are only really used for when you need to do content. Like, Buggy gives you double drops. Jack gives you more XP. You have the revive mechanic of Brook. Rayleigh's great to get around your defensive effects. If you need full damage immunity, you have Robin. When you have poison content, you have Reiju if you're running the Dex Super Boss. Shout out to the Dex Super Boss run, or the Quick Super Boss, sorry. You want to bring V3 Blackbeard for the HP cut shenanigans. If you want wave clearing, you've got Dofi and you've got Mihawk. If you want guaranteed delay, you've got stuff like Usopp, and I guess wherever Hawkins is, but Hawkins sucks. Going through defensive effects with Blackbeard, like, these characters, the Big Father effect, they're all just, like, unique in some way, and they sort of all just fall into the category of, well, if you really need them, max them then. Don't max them for the sake of it, just max them then. Rare Recruit tier, support tier, you just want to get those support levels, max these characters out. Raiju's another one that I would, like, argue, like, can be moved down here, but just whenever poison content comes around, you want to use Raiju, right? Max these guys' supports, and then just let them collect box, like, dust. That's all they're good for. The rare recruit tier, you don't want to touch these characters. Like, none of them are good anymore. Most of them have 6+s as well, besides the dual unit. But like Katakuri is the only one that doesn't, and he can desperately use the 6+, like, desperately. So out of these characters, just don't touch, don't worry about them. But let's start the tier list here, because we have to talk about Mr. Kumar, the PvP legend that came out after Gazaru. So this particular character goes right here. Literally, he's dookie. Like, he's so bad. I am going to give him a little bit of justice. I'm going to put him up here in content when content requires, or niche. Purely because he has the reflection mechanic that V4 lore has. The Halloween lore, the one that's up here. This lore. So that's the only reason I'm going to put him here. Because if there are no normal attacks only, you can, like, use him for strength-based teams. He is a 5x captain, I'm pretty sure, for strength. Like, I don't really use him. He is immune to blowaway. So, like, there is that. So you can use him for, like, blowaway content. Very similar to what you would use this beach here for. I'm just looking here. Do I have Legend Frankie here? No. So this Legend Frankie, I actually want to talk about him in a second as well. Give me 1 sec. But we have the immunity to blowaway with, what's his name? Kumar, and he has the reflection damage. The thing with Kumar, he's also a 2.5 times color affinity strength. The thing with Kumar is he feels like the prototype for what lore should have been. It feels like this character should have came out way before lore. Lore just does everything he does, just way better. Has utility, has a much better special. Kuma sucks. Like, Kuma is just so dookie. Don't summon for him. He's not even good in Rumble, and he's a Pirate Rumble legend for crying out loud. But he did bring up the fact of Frankie. Now, Frankie became really, really good, especially because of the general Frankie effect to get through the damage limiter debuff. So for that reason, I am going to move Frankie up into content require / niche, because he was used for that particular piece of content, and that pretty much particular piece of content only. Moving down now, we do have Koala. Koala. Thing about Koala is Koala kind of sucks too. So she did get the sort of short end of the stick. I do think she's the worst of the treasure map legends. She is a Dex fighter free spirit character that also has special reverse built into her captain, which is quite nice, right? But you just don't need two of them. She's a color affinity captain 2.5 times, so the highest, which is great for stuff like free spirit and fighters and Dex, I guess. But it's color affinity. Color affinity is like the last thing you put on your team. It's as simple as that. Now, it's really good for Kazuna and like getting those big numbers, but if you need special reverse or a free spirit captain, you have this guy right here, and he's been out for like a year. Like, everyone has verse ace, and if you don't, he was in the shop, so you should have bought him. Just saying. So, for that reason, Koala is going to find a way down here. She does have a very interesting mechanic with, like, boosting your HP, like boosting your base HP, getting over heal as well, which is quite cool. But she's just not good. Like, she's just not good. So, if you have her, and you want to use her, if you're a big Koala fan, max her out. But I would not go crazy, because she's just not that great. I'm sorry if you're a big Koala fan. I do apologize. On to the fun stuff now. So, we have the other two treasure map legends that did come out alongside with Koala on the global side. We've got Crocodilus. Mr. Crocodilus, I do think, is a much better legend than Koala. And when I say a much better legend, I think he is a much better legend. I'm going to slap him up here in God tier. I don't think he is better than Dofi nowadays, but he's definitely the best Cerebral captain in the entire game. He's a Cerebral super class, and he has a lot of very, very good support. He's a 5x captain to Cerebral characters. His super class can be triggered as long as you're below 50%, so you can start with the Moby Dick to trigger that. Or if you have like Robin or any of the Baroque works on the team, his super class will put his special trigger to 1, and let him remove HP reducing or like effects. He then also rotates like block, bomb, recovery, all of those annoying orbs into matching, which is awesome, and then turns all Cerebral characters into super class. His captain ability is a 5x captain to Cerebrals, 3.75 to everything else. If you hit with a favorable orb over a certain HP threshold for Cerebral characters, you get that matching orb. You can do a 10% HP cut on entry of the fight. You can then, what's the other thing he does? He does a whole bunch of healing as well. And he has damage reduction in his kit, in his captain. It's absolutely insane. I don't actually have Croc on Global, but I did play with him a lot, and there's a lot of showcase videos on the channel if you guys want to go check them out for Crocodilus. So make sure to go check it out. He's very, very good. And Cerebral being an absolutely busted class just helps him out a lot. He is an attack booster to Cerebrals as well, 2.5 times. And if you've used your special once or like twice, or if you have activated his super class in to go around the HP mechanics, you can get a 3-turn chain boundary effect starting at 3.0 times, upwards to 40 times, which is the biggest chain boundary in the entire game. Very, very strong, very, very powerful, especially as a captain. As a sub, he's still very, very viable for Cerebral teams. 2.5 times attack is nothing to scoff at. Getting the chain boundary is great, but it's only for 2 turns unless you're below 50% HP. And that's my big knock with this character, is as a sailor, he does struggle a little bit to get the 3 turns of the chain boundary effect, but as a captain, he does not struggle at all. Like, he doesn't struggle at all to get that chain boundary effect for 3 turns. And because it's a chain boundary, it's the same as a chain lock, so enemies can't remove that. He does get removed and does get wiped with red haki as well, or white haki as well. If you activate his super class and then you get hakied, it does reset his counters. So just be mindful of that. But other than that, he is still an incredible captain. Very, very powerful. Really, really, really good character. He's a driven character as well, so he slides onto the driven team. There's a lot of good driven cerebral characters as well, so he can find viability there. I don't think he's as good as Doflamingo, honestly. Like, I might be biased because Dof is my favorite character, like, to play with at the moment. But Crocodile is still incredibly powerful, like, incredibly strong, and he's still definitely a god tier unit, very, very easily. Down to the next character that came out alongside Crocodilus is Bonchan. Bonchan is a very, very interesting character. And honestly, I enjoy Bonchan a lot. I kind of want to put Bonchan up here in Broken. Like, I kind of do. Like, I really, 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 really do. Mainly because, like, Bonchan has the ability to change his class and type into anything that you want. Just let that sink in for a second. If you guys did the co-op Kazuna, this character right here was the MVP. Just hands down. To be able to change into a class of your choice can give you access to stuff like different ships. He is a super type character, so therefore you can bring him alongside Dofi, run super type, super class, bring him alongside Croc, have super type, super class. You can run him alongside, if you really want to, down here with this loser, super class, super type. With Dogstorm, super type, super class. Absolutely insane what you can do. Changing the color as well just is absolutely crazy. 1,500 base stat boost, Rainbow, which is the biggest in the entire game, which is absolutely nutso. And then he has a super type condition, which gives him a 3.25 chain lock for the team. And he also has the limit break ability to give him self-special cooldown. So he's always going to have like 4 turns of cooldown on his special at the start of the quest. So stuff like Kazuna, I don't understand why this guy's a treasure map legend. He should be a Kazuna legend. That's what he should be. But he's quickly become like a very, very cool character to me. I do think he's very, very good, especially as a captain. And for me, like, as a sailor, like, he's just going to see viability everywhere you go. At least for, like, honestly, for a very long time as well. Like, I don't see this character dropping off. Like, he is just absolutely cooked. And for co-op Kazuna, very, very good. If for team building, he's a rainbow captain, 4.5 times rainbow, 5 times a matching orb. That is another thing to note as well. He makes recovery and tandem orbs matching as a captain, which is very, very cool. He's just such an intricate character. And the reason I want to put him up here is just for this line right here. Because he's broken. Like, he's just broken. He just changed. The fact he can change is just so damn powerful. So damn powerful. Such a cool unit. And I think they did Bonchan a lot of justice with what they gave him. On to the next character now. We do have the 6+ that did come out alongside the co-op Kazuna. That is Kuzuki Odin. Now, Kuzuki Odin basically just got a straight buff to his captain ability. He is a rainbow captain. And for that reason, I'm going to bring him up here into S tier captain. You can, like, keep 2 Odins. Now, what I like to do with the second Odin is to have the Odin at level 3 support. Because at level 3 support, you get a strength orb on your captain, which is good for, like, verse ace shenanigans and stuff like that. But with the 6+ of Odin, he did get a lot better. Like, he got significantly better. He turns Dex orbs into 1 orbs now. He also turns tandem orbs into 1 orbs as well. His orb boost got a lot bigger. He just does more damage, basically. And running 2 Odins now is not an issue. Like, once upon a time, it kind of was. And they didn't really do too much to make him that much better. But he's super type now, does it for your captains, and the combination that you can run with him and his partner, Miss Toki up here, is absolutely insane. Toki gives the Toki ability, 3.5 times attack, 3.5 times orbs on two chosen characters to avoid debuffs. You get the 1,000 base stats with Odin and the Wano slots. So these two characters as captain. Super typing of Toki gives you color affinity as well. So you basically have everything with these two characters, and they just hit like absolute goddamn trucks. Go check out Odin's showcase video that I did on the channel. Like, it's absolutely cool what this unit can do. Not a huge buff, but a very, very good one nonetheless. So definitely moving him back up into S tier captain where he once was. I do think he's probably like one of the best strength captains now too, with the amount of damage output he has. But he's also rainbow. That's another thing to note. He's a rainbow captain. So like, you can easily build teams with this guy, like easily. He works great as a slasher captain as well. He's just very, very good. Very, very good character. On to the final two characters before we have a talk about this particular character right here. Neko and Inu, the two newest legends to come out in both Japan and global. The new speed gods themselves. They basically parallel each other. They do basically the same things. Like, Neko is a super class. Dogstorm is a super... Sorry, Dogstorm's a super class. Neko's a super type. They're both dex, they're both fighter, they're both slasher, which is really, really cool. Neko gives a 4 times base to strength, dex, and quicks, where Dogstorm gives a 4 times attack to the 4 classes of striker, slasher, shooter, and fighter. And then they give an extra 1.25 for the opposite. So being a super type, obviously the 4 times is for the types, for Cat Viper, and 4 times is for the classes, being a super class of Dogstorm. So the two of them sort of find their way into the same section, because very much like King and Queen, they just work absolutely awesome together. Unlike King and Queen, though, their specials kind of parallel each other. Again, you start Neko as a color booster for an orb boost, and then you get an attack boost for the classes. Inu is the complete opposite. He gives the perfect buff. Neko gives the clock buff, exactly like King and Queen does. But I just don't think that they are as good as King and Queen are. I still think King and Queen are better. And with Neko and Inu, the big thing that you want to be utilizing these characters for is just basically speed farming. The reason that you're using these guys is to just tear through content. They get through damage reduction effects very similar to Carrot, and they sort of just became a better version of Carrot. They kind of do what Carrot does, just at a much higher multiplier rate. They are only in their Sulong form for 10 turns, unlike Carrot's in there for 12. But once Carrot drops out, she becomes a lot weaker. So team building for Carrot can be a little bit more finicky to make it fast. With Neko and Inu, I did try and take them into some harder content. They absolutely blitzscarf challenges. They absolutely destroy arenas, which is really, really cool. But for stuff like Forest, for like Dofi 2, Revolutionary 2, all of that really hard content, they are going to struggle. I'm really keen to see where they sort of how they do in stuff like Kazuna and Treasure Map. I do think they're going to shine there because like they get 5 turns of cooldown on stage 3 as well. They give it 2.5 times attack and orb boost, which is great for like 3 colors and 4 classes. But big team building for them is restrictive, obviously, to just using those 4 classes or just using those 3 colors to get the 5 times captain ability. Doesn't mean it's bad, but if you compare it to sort of the team building that King and Queen sort of can provide, it is a lot more straightforward with these characters just being like driven powerhouse, and that's sort of like what you're rocking. These characters here, like, you can do some intricate shenanigans, but for the most optimal team, for the optimal damage, you are looking at like having like Dex fighters on the team, mainly for the super class and the super type. You don't have to, like I said, you don't have to, but in terms of how optimal they become, that is kind of what you want to do with them. With Carrot, because of these two characters here, I am going to drop Carrot into S tier sub nowadays. She's still great, like she's still a really good speed captain, don't get me wrong, but the reason I'm dropping her to S tier sub is because you want her for her cooldowns, you want her for her captain swap, and bringing her in as a captain during the fight, which you can definitely use on these guys' teams. She's still an orb booster as well. She has access to stuff like the Brule support, which is hectic. But just with these two characters now, the new speed gods getting through damage reduction and threshold as well as barriers, they just do what Carrot does, but better. The big downside, just like Carrot had, is you are time restricted. You are limited to classes and color. And you still don't get around defense up. Defense up is a big issue for these characters, these Sulong characters. So just be mindful of that when you are team building them. I do enjoy them a lot because I'm a fan of speed farming. And you can also access this monster here and do some shenanigans that way. You can also access the Straw Hat character here. Another really, really good character for the team. But Neko and Inu, they are fairly new. It's a big reason why the tier list is quite late, because these characters came out like start of February. So there is that as well. So that is all the characters, but there is something that I want to talk about. I did drop the best friend tier for this guy right here. If you want to argue to me that they're god tier, go ahead. But level 1 final tap, this unit for me, broken. And I guess you could easily argue that they are broken. But I would put them at the back end of broken. Like, they are, like, at the back end. 25% extra damage for what they do, like, sort of isn't that amazing. They do give you a lot of freedom for team building and stuff like that. Their super switch isn't amazing. Their super switch is, like, subpar at best, if you ask me. But they still do something that no one else does because of that final tap. There's something I want to touch on, right? This one right here, we're adding the whale. We're adding the whale stamp. The level 5 final tap Straw Hats is definitively the best unit in the game. With the rainbow border, this unit is hands down the best unit in the game. Getting 120% damage on top of your damage is unheard of, and it is easily the best final tap in the game. It's very easy to team build with them, as I mentioned, because they are a rainbow captain. With stuff like Bonchan, you can easily get super class with them and just sort of make some busted shenanigans that way. But I still think most of the time you're running this guy as a friend captain to get access to the final tap. But if you have your own, you put them on the team. Now, to put it into perspective, with the new co-op Kazuna that was running around, for the int variation, 2 of our members had a rainbow Straw Hats, including myself. We were doing around 16 billion to 17.5 billion damage, depending on like hunger orbs and recovery orbs and stuff like that. But that was massive damage, absolutely monstrous. 16 billion? 16.4 I was doing? No, 16.3 something. And one of our members, Mazan, was doing like over 17 billion on some runs, which was absolutely cooked. I did see a couple other members doing over 17 billion as well, in other alliances and stuff like that too. But we also had other members that were running this guy as a friend captain. Actually, no, they weren't using them as a friend captain for that particular run. Maybe they were, I can't remember. But the damage difference was absolutely monstrous. It was like a 4 billion damage difference, which is just absolutely crazy. Really, really, really insane. So this particular character with the rainbow border just provides so much damage output. Like, so much damage output. Oh, sorry, without them on the team, sorry, they were doing around 12-ish billion. So the damage difference was around 4 to 5 billion. And was just absolutely cooked. The amount of damage that this character can provide with their final tap, it's unheard of. 120% damage, like, it's absolutely heard of. It goes through resilience as well. It doesn't get affected by normal attacks only. It doesn't get affected by Grey Shield. It's absolutely insane. And if you have this guy, you have a dupe, you could easily say that this character is absolutely broken. I don't like that there's lots of characters here up here in the broken tier, so I'm going to drop down a Sabo to God tier. I think nowadays, like, they've sort of just dropped off a little bit. They do have special one removal in their kit, despair removal, but I think compared to stuff like Roger, Toki, the 2 Yamatos, Whitebeard and Roger, and Bonchan, from what Bonchan can actually do, like, Sabo, they've kind of had their time in the sun, and it's time that they actually dropped off a little bit. But that's going to wrap up the video today, guys. Like I said, this is my personal opinion. Enjoy it, don't enjoy it. Link will be in the description for my tier list up there, for my tier list maker, if you guys want to check it out. As always, I will leave a picture at the end for you guys to have a gander. Let me know if you guys want a copy of it. Just hit me up in the comments or in the DMs. But while you're down there, as I mentioned, smash the like button for me if you are new. Hit the big red subscribe button. But guys, wherever you are in this beautiful world, please remember to enjoy the rest of your day. As always, homies, I thank you for watching, and I'll catch you all in the next one. Thanks!